Straight people are getting too comfortable, and you should go back to being deathly afraid of offending people.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the podcast, where I put myself through pain and torture and react to TikToks from the alphabet people. Buckle up, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. And now, prepare to lose some brain cells with me. Up first, this TikToker wants straight people to be afraid?
Straight people are getting too comfortable. I said what I said. Some things are not yours to talk about, joke about, or say. And you should go back to being deathly afraid of offending people.
So I actually think it's good if straight people are getting so comfortable around gay and lesbian people that they'll joke about stuff or talk about things that they previously would have been afraid to touch. Obviously, that should be done with taste and coming from a good place, not in a malicious way or a way that's really out of touch or inappropriate. But I think all people should be free to joke and discuss about all things within reason. And I can't possibly imagine wanting other people to be so afraid to speak or joke that they are afraid of being canceled. Like, why would you wish that on other people? Wish a state of self-censorship and fear onto your fellow citizens. And are you really naive enough to think that that wouldn't come for you too? Like, I'm sure this person is a cis lesbian or whatever. Okay, but what about when the people to your flank do outrank you on the oppression Olympics scale? When they start saying you should be scared to not offend NBs or to not say something that's a microaggression to indigenous people or whatever. Do you want to live your life in fear of offending people and having your life turned upside down? I sure as shit don't, so I wouldn't wish it on anybody else. And I seriously question why anybody would. But I don't know. What did you make of this one? Let me know in the comments. Up next, this trans TikToker is sick of your frickin' compliments, people.
You know what I hate and I'm so sick of? Cis people assuming that trans people are just like unattractive and ugly, and then when a trans person is attractive, they're like, oh my god, like you actually look good. Like you look better than I do. I was recently at a party with like a group of other trans people. There was this dude that like came up to us and was like, oh my god, how do you guys look better than I do? Like you're trans guys and like you look better than I do. Like you. Came up to me and goes like, damn, like what brand of tea are you on? I don't know, the generic kind, but it's not hard to be hotter than you because you're a ugly and you suck. Are you gonna go up to trans people and be like, damn, like you should be ugly because you're a biological female. You don't look ugly trying to look like a dude. Are you literally dumb? This dude kept going and being like, you guys actually look good. Like you guys look better than I do and I'm this. Of course we do, babe. Because trans people are hot. You should expect this. Dude would not shut up until someone was literally like, you need to stop. Like you need to stop. If you just assume trans people are ugly, I don't think you've ever met a trans person. Every trans person I know is stunning and sexy beyond comprehension.
So that was a lot. First, I don't think the idea that all trans people are ugly is a very widespread notion at all. It kind of feels like you're beating up on a straw man. I certainly don't think that, and I don't know that I've encountered anyone who does. It actually sounds like you encountered a woke, cringe ally. But like, that's not transphobic right-wingers doing that. That's some liberal dude who was trying to seem really accepting and tolerant and was cringe and overbearing as a result. And like, poor you, he kept telling you how good looking you are. Like, I'm sorry, but of all the victim stories that people spin on TikTok, this is hardly the most compelling one. And the thing that kind of annoyed me about this video is that like saying all trans people are ugly is dumb, right? Because trans people are just people. It's just a category of human being. So some will be good looking, some will be ugly, some will be fat, some will be skinny, some will be smart, some will be dumb. Just like any other category of people, right? And this TikToker gets mad about over-stereotyping one way and then immediately proceeds to do the opposite extreme. Like, no, not all trans people are hot or sexy or whatever you're saying. That is obviously demonstrably untrue. Just look at some of the people who make hate videos about me. But of course, like I said, some trans people are stunning, are beautiful, and some not so much. But it's just annoying to be mad about somebody generalizing about trans people and then respond by also grossly oversimplifying and generalizing about trans people. Like, pick a struggle and stick with it. But you can't have things both ways, at least not if your goal is to make any sense.
This disturbing phenomenon where queer people, and I notice this in gay men specifically, will cross the threshold into acceptance by heteronormative society by and large, and then they will abandon everybody else that has not yet crossed that threshold. Like, okay, traitor. I would say overall, right now, it is more acceptable than ever to be a gay man. And so what happens is then we have another wave coming along of trans liberation. We are not in the gay rights era anymore. We are in the trans liberation era because our legislators are no longer attacking gay people specifically. They are attacking transgender people and transgender youth specifically. This is different than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. But 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were anti-gay politicians that were making laws to bar gay men from getting rights, and lesbians. This person's a gay man, so that's what I'm talking about. But the political agenda was to erase queerness from society. Obviously, that didn't work because trans women of color led the gay rights movement, and now you're able to get married, and you're able to adopt kids, and you're able to walk outside in many, many, many places in the country and hold hands with another man and be okay. I can't go to the bathroom in my home state without fear of getting arrested. We're not the same.
Okay, first off, please stop the bizarre, mythical gaslighting. Trans women of color did not lead the gay rights movement. That's something woke people made up. There were barely any people who even identified as trans at that time. There were a few drag queens who were involved. But drag queens aren't the same thing as trans women, first of all. And woke activists of all people should know that. And secondly, they played marginal roles, like not insignificant, but the idea that they were pioneers or the leaders of the whole movement is just woke myth-making. It is ahistorical. So we don't owe you anything. And I actually agree with the last thing this person said, that we're different, right? Gay and lesbian people and bisexual people, that's about our sexual orientation, and gender identity is something fundamentally distinct. Now, for reasons we've discussed at length in the past, the two have been kind of grouped together, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. And that's okay, but it does lead to these kinds of tensions. Like this person thinks gay people like me are traitors because we're not on board with the full trans liberation agenda. Of course, as y'all all know, if you watch my content, if you follow my channel, I fully support the right of trans adults to live their best life, live how they want. If this person really would get arrested for using the bathroom at home, although this person is non-binary, so I'm just confused. Like, wouldn't you just use the men's room? Like, I don't know. But if that was true, I don't support bathroom bills. Like, I've criticized that. I'm not on board with that. But I'm sure this person would still label me a transphobe or a traitor or whatever because I don't support children getting sex changes. And that's not the latest front in the fight for liberation. It's a disturbing experiment with unfounded medical treatments that I don't think kids that young can really fully understand or consent to the lifelong ramifications of. What about me being gay and being able to marry a man and adopt children and all that, important things, I agree, should shape my opinion on whether kids can consent to puberty blockers, or whether there's been enough peer-reviewed research on outcomes for it to be responsible to be prescribing those to gender-confused youth. The things just aren't connected in the way you're trying to make them connected. And that's because you're trying to short-circuit argumentation. Activists like this are essentially trying to guilt trip us into agreeing with them rather than actually defending their positions or explaining why they are correct. But who knows, actually? Maybe I'll reach out to this individual, Jamie, and see if he wants to come on the podcast. But I wouldn't hold your breath, to be honest. All right, guys, we got one more TikTok to react to, and this one is actually a fun one, not a cringe woke one. This is from somebody who brands himself as a grumpy old gay. And while I'm not old, I am a little bit grumpy, and I certainly relate to some of his videos. Take a look at this one.
Grumpy old gay rant of the day. Keep getting a little bit of feedback from the non-binary folk. Let me go on record in saying no one really cares that you identify as non-binary. I know it's very in vogue right now to play victim, but nobody really cares. What the original 4 letters of the LGBTQ tribe are saying is, we are not the same. But I keep getting comments saying, I'm queer and we're under the same umbrella. And when I read that, I think, bitch, do I look like Rihanna? Who is the one who's mailing out invitations saying, please stand under our umbrella? Ella. And I know we're old farts and you don't think we know anything, but I used to attend a lot of protests in the 90s, to help give you the rights that you have now. Good times. But what a lot of people are concerned about is what type of legacy are you leaving? What kind of detriment are you causing to those of us that just wanted the rights that we have now and we want to be left alone? Don't drag us up into your bullshit. Again, this is not your umbrella, Ella. If you guys were truly as, trailblazing as you think you are, then go create your own umbrella, Ella. The other thing is there some type of internalized misogyny that's going on? Because most of the people that are identifying non-binary were born with female genitals. And it does almost seem like a form of internalized misogyny. Rather than pushing the boundaries of what it means to be a woman, because y'all keep shoving that down everyone's throat, you decided to create a third category, which I guess is okay. But then again, what type of message does that send to the generation that comes after you guys? Because you guys are saying, oh, if you don't fit into a stereotype of what I think happens in womanhood or malehood, you're in this category. Look, androgyny has always been a thing. People my age, we loved us some Boy George and Annie Lennox. And to me, those were the pioneers that actually paved the way for true acceptance of people being comfortable in their own skin. And they all did it without shoving it down anybody's throat or having to create a third category. Because to me, that just seems like a coward's way out. And I'm not saying you're a coward. I'm just saying it feels like the coward's way out. That's all.
So I found this guy's video hilarious. He's been dropping a lot of them lately, and I'll just tell you, it's not going over well with the woke alphabet people on the clock out. But I'm going to reach out to him and see if he wants to come on the Damage Control podcast and tell us more about his perspective as a grumpy old gay. Let me know in the audience out there if you relate, if you're grumpy old and gay or lesbian or what have you, and if you feel similarly about the newfangled woke stuff. Don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this episode, and please do consider subscribing and sticking around. And with that, I'll talk to you all next week.